because of the health crisis, we're meeting virtually through Zoom until the end of June. We will begin in-person meetings Tuesday, July 6th. The meeting has been posted. This is a formal meeting of the Oak Park City Council, and we are following all meeting protocols. Protocol requires that everyone, aside from members of City Council, Oak Park administration, and special guests like our Congresswoman, residents, please turn your cameras and audio off until the call to the audience section. If you're using Zoom during call to the audience, you can write your name in the chat feature. But during the meeting, please turn your camera and audio off. Thank you. We will begin.
Mayor, excuse me, you may want to say something about the special.
Yes. At the special meeting, we did not get to call to the audience. My apologies to those who were waiting. Please wait and join us at the end of this meeting. City Clerk Ed Norris, would you call the roll?
Mayor McClellan.
Here. Marianne McClellan, City of Oak Park, Oakland County.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Carolyn Burns, City of Oak Park, Oakland County, present.
Councilmember Radner. Councilmember Edgar.
Julie Edgar here, reporting from the City of Oak Park in Oakland County.
And Councilmember Whitehead.
Sean Whitehead, present, Oak Park, Michigan, Oakland County.
We have a quorum. I would take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Thank you. Councilmember Burns, is there a second?
Seconded.
Councilmember Edgar, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have the consent agenda. These are presented as a single item without discussion unless someone wants one of them removed and discussed separately. A, special council meeting minutes of May 12th, 2021. Public safety activity summary for March and April 2021. Request to advertise for bids for the 2021 citywide janitorial service contract, M729. Request to advertise for bids for the 2021 Greenfield Road fence replacement projects, M730. Request to approve payment application number 2 for the 2020 sewer lining project, M703, to Inland Waters Pollution Control Incorporated for the amount of $5,000. Zoning Board of Appeals meeting minutes of October 27th, 2020. Planning Commission meeting minutes of April 12th, 2021. Corridor Improvement Authority meeting minutes of April 15th, 2021. Recycling Commission meeting minutes of April 15th. Licenses, new and renewals submitted for June 7th, 2021. Requesting a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Burns. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Whitehead. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. And now we are at, I'm just honored out of my seat here. We have Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence here to provide an update of what's happening of interest in Washington, D.C. Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence, thank you for joining us at the Oak Park City Council meeting. Your video, your audio isn't.
Thank you for allowing me to be with you tonight. I'm so excited. Oak Park is the big city with a big heart. I appreciate all that you do, being a neighbor of yours for all these years, over 35 years, and being the mayor and just having such an amazing relationship with all of you. I really appreciate it. Today, I'm going to take a few minutes just to give you an update on what's happening in Washington. Some of it I can't explain. I will tell you what's happening. We've been busy in Congress and the House working to pass legislation that advances our nation's principles of equality, justice, and opportunity for all. I want everyone to know that I am so thankful to see your faces here, because we can all say for the rest of our lives, we were survivors of one of the worst pandemics this world has ever confronted. And with that, I spearheaded the mass vaccination week with the Congressional Black Caucus here in the 14th District. We had more than 5,000 people get vaccinated. We had 12 walk-up vaccination sites, which were organized throughout the district, including right here in Oak Park, the Henry Ford mobile site. We collaborated with 30 community partners to raise awareness, and I hosted a town hall with Fox 2 to dispel the myths surrounding the vaccine. I want everyone who's listening, including my leaders of the city, to know we're not done. We still have a lot of leadership to do. It feels so good to be moving toward what was ever normal, to be able to be in presence of people who have been vaccinated without any fear. I was having a press conference about the vaccine, and someone said, I just took a giant sigh of relief, because we have all been walking around praying and hoping that we did not get infected. And so we're very excited about that. I want to thank Oak Park for participating and encourage everyone who can to please get the vaccine. It is not just for you, it's for all of us. I introduced 2 postal reform bills, and I have been hearing from many of you about the poor service we've been getting from the Postal Service. One of the reasons that I have received is that the Postal Service during the pandemic had over 30,000 people who did not report to work, and that postal workers are first responders. They did not stop during the pandemic. And that with all of the high absenteeism for various reasons, COVID, childcare, elder care, loss, the fear of coming to work, because a number of postal workers died during the pandemic. But we continue to work on that. I want you to know that's a passion of mine. After spending 30 years there, I know the insides and outs, and I'll keep working on that. I introduced 2 postal reform bills. They're critical to helping the Postal Service overcome financial constraints. And after a year of inconsistent, sometimes non-existent mail delivery, this legislation mandates a creation of an online tool to track delivery performance. So we've been hearing throughout the district, and I'm working to get to the bottom of this. And this will allow transparency for the public to click on and find out what is their mail delivery in their community. I serve as the co-chair of the Women's Caucus for the United States Congress. And I'm so proud of the legislation that I've been able to enact and pass as part of my leadership there. I voted to pass the bipartisan Pregnant Workers Fairness Act. The bill established a pregnant worker's clear right to reasonable workplace accommodations, such as appropriate seating, water breaks, and relief from heavy lifting. Currently, there's no federal law that explicitly and affirmatively guarantees all pregnant women the right to basic accommodations. Go figure. Who would have thought we didn't have anything? Across the country, we have found that pregnant women are being fired, refused basic accommodation, and denied employment opportunity. And We know this is unacceptable, especially as women disproportionately make up our frontline workers. So when you think of the front lines, you think of grocery store workers, you think of teachers, you think of the caregivers. It's predominantly women. Restaurant workers, those are predominantly women. And to not have a law that accommodates them for pregnancy is unacceptable. It's time for us to catch up with the 21st century. I also announced the launch of the Emergency Broadband Benefit Program. The EBB program is groundbreaking that will help economically vulnerable Americans afford their monthly internet bill. The $3.2 billion program was created as part of the final omnibus appropriations bill in December, and which I helped put together as a member and now vice chair of the Appropriations Committee. Households interested in learning whether they qualify are encouraged to visit the FCC's new enrollment website and then sign up for the program through their internet service provider. The website is getemergencybroadband.org. And we were so excited the President of the United States came to Michigan and became a hot ride driver with the Lightning, the F-150. He was here to promote the Americans Job Plan, which I fully support, to invest in our infrastructure, to replace lead pipes, and to create good paying jobs. We know that the New Deal, for those of you who know your history, was a time where America put people to work to rebuild our economy. It was one of the best times in our economies. And we're way past time to invest in our bridges, our roads. And I often tell them in Congress that a pothole is an inconvenience, but our water infrastructure is essential to life. And we must invest in our water infrastructure and make sure that when we're talking about roads and bridges, that we're also talking about fixing our water infrastructure. Congress passed and the president signed into law a bipartisan, everybody says we can't do anything. We did do one thing. We passed the bipartisan COVID-19 hate crimes bill. It's the violence against Asian American Pacific Islanders that we've seen during COVID has been unacceptable. And the hate crimes, the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act is a critical step in addressing this crisis. The bipartisan effort sends a clear message that we strongly reject violence, hatred, and discrimination. The bill helps facilitate Department of Justice data collection of hate crimes against Asian Americans and improve hate crimes reporting and accountability and provide support for the victims. I am proud to say that I am the founder and the co-chair of the Congressional Caucus on Black-Jewish Relations. I have joined my other co-chairs to speak out on the alarming rise of violence, of racism, and anti-Semitic attacks in the United States. If you really look into the history of the African American community and the Jewish community, we have stood side by side for decades, fighting against racism and fighting for justice together. I was just in Greenwood, if you just indulge me a minute, to commemorate the 100th year of the Wall Street Massacre, Black Wall Street Massacre, where 300 people were killed and they dropped fire bombs on the city and they took away the homes and properties of all these affluent African Americans. Leading the legal team now to get payment for those properties and support for the survivors. They're a team of predominantly Jewish attorneys. And this has been historic throughout history. I am proud to stand together, strong now more than ever in this time of need for our Jewish community. And we can continue to work tirelessly to call out, to identify, and to eradicate racism and anti-Semitic activity wherever and whenever we see it. I'm also proud to say that I was appointed by Nancy Pelosi to the Holocaust Commission, the National Holocaust Museum Commission. And I'm serving that with a great amount of pride. I want you to know that I've been working and listening to you, Oak Park. As the Vice Chair of the Appropriations Committee, I submitted a community project funding request for the City of Oak Park, Department of Public Safety, for body-worn camera and in-video project that you launched. Why is that so important? As we talk about the George Floyd and Justice Act, that I as a member of the Black Caucus proudly supported and passed it in the House, is sitting in the Senate. One of the elements to justice, to assuring that we have in America a police department that lives true to the oath of every police officer, and that is to serve and protect. That the body cams is something that we are saying that every police officer should have. And you submitted that when we contacted your office. And I'm pleased to say that you made it through one hoop, and in a few weeks, we'll know if we're all the way there. I'm so excited about it and was able to work with you on that. The cams, the body cams and car videos improve accountability for the police and accountability for the citizens of the city. A lot of times people think body cams are bad, but what it does, it validates the facts. And the facts aren't always against police, because when police, they have to do their job. They have to run to danger. And I will say on the record, I am not a defund the police person. Being a former mayor, I know that our police run to danger and they protect us. But the bad cops, I have zero tolerance for. Do not hide your racism and your prejudice behind the badge and the trust of the people in your community. And so I want to empower, give them the tools, and make sure that we work together to have a police force that is accountable and one that lives up to their oath of office. And with the cams, we protect the safety of our police officers. I also want to just bring to your attention, I spoke of the George Floyd Act is sitting in Congress. There's a Voting Rights Act as well to protect our democracy and the rights. It is sitting in Congress as well. In the Senate as well. We are right now debating, trying to come to an agreement on transportation. And what's the most challenging thing for me, being a member of Congress and being a former mayor? I was listening to some of your discussions there. When you, on local government, I really frankly don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. We're trying to get the job done to take care of the people. We don't debate, oh, that's a Democratic agenda or that's a Republican agenda. It's like, what do we need to do? How do we pay for it so that we can take care of the people? And right now, having a discussion about infrastructure that is falling apart around us, we are losing so many competitive edges when it comes to research, when it comes to advancement of technology, because we keep fighting over, are you an R or a D? And so I continue to pledge to you that the right thing to do is always the right thing to do, and I will always strive to do that. I want to thank Oak Park for giving me the pleasure and the pride to say I represent Oak Park, because you are an amazing city. And I often tell people it's one of the best family communities that you can have. And with that, I will yield back, as we say in Congress, and I'll take any questions if you deem there's time for that.
Does anyone have on City Council have a question for the Congresswoman?
Madam Mayor, if I may.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Congresswoman Lawrence, I just want to thank you for everything that you've been doing. It really helps our community, and I appreciate you. And I've been speaking with Mr. Johnson from your office, and he indicated you're going to be helping us with our virtual Juneteenth celebration.
Yes.
I can't wait to see your video, and I know all of our residents can't wait to see your video. And I really love what you touched on about Black Wall Street. So if you can maybe include that too, that'd be great. So 'cause everybody needs to know that history. So
Yes.
thank you.
Madam Mayor, I have a question for the Congresswoman.
Um,
Thank you so much.
Julie Edgar. Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you, Congresswoman Lawrence, for coming tonight. It's good to see you. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about where the background checks bill is at this point. I'm wearing an approximation of orange tonight to show my support for the gun violence prevention movement.
Yes.
I'm wondering why this is stalled in Congress still.
I wish I could answer that. The power of the NRA, I always hear that there's a fear to get any reforms, because they said any reforms, they're a slippery slope. When you talk privately with either side of the aisle, everyone knows we have a crisis in America with gun violence and we need to do something. Did you see the recent Supreme Court overturned that California could not ban assault weapons? And they said the United States needs to make some policy and laws. And this is after they have lived through these massive deaths and tragedies of gun violence with these assault weapons. I am one, I should have it draped around me and hanging on me and everything orange, because there's only one purpose for a gun, and that is to kill someone, kill something. That's the only purpose for a gun. Now, when you have an assault weapon, that means that you can kill something faster, more. Why do you need an assault weapon? People don't use them to hunt because it doesn't serve the value. When you're hunting, you're killing animals for sport or for food, but no one takes out an assault weapon. And then in addition to that, I like to plant this seed for those who want to push back on me about my saying we need gun control. You drive a car in America, you are mandated to have a license. If you don't have a license, we will ticket you, fine you, and we will prohibit you from getting a license because you have so many infractions of not driving it. We mandate you put on a seatbelt. It's your car, you paid for it. But for the safety, and a car is for transportation, it has nothing to do with killing anything. And we accept being mandated to have a license, to have a title, to prove who owns the car. You have to have a title to the car. You have to insure the car. You have to put on a seatbelt, and you have to adhere to speed limits. And we accept that in America, but guns are untouchable. That's horrific to me. It's unacceptable. And I will fight for reasonable gun control. Everyone has the right to own a gun, just like everyone has the right to buy a car, but you have to do it within the guidelines of having a license, proving that you know how to drive it, and you are tested on a regular basis, retested, and have to reapply to ensure you're in compliance with the guidelines.
So what are the odds of this background checks bill passing?
There is some rumbling that they have some more support than they ever have in Congress. The background checks seems to be the most viable to those who are don't touch my guns. The part about the red flag laws, which I strongly support, if you have a restraining order or if you have a person who's been deemed unable to make decisions for yourself, you should not be able to go in and purchase a gun. Those are getting traction, but the background check is moving forward. So we may have to separate the bill, because in our proposed gun control bill, it is background checks, it is closing the loophole where if the background check doesn't come back in time, you just get to walk away with the gun, and shutting down these internet sales where you can go and buy a gun off of the internet, no one knows you have it, or you buy it at because think about how unrealistic this is. You can buy a car now online, but you still, before you take possession, have to have a title. You have a license. I mean, you can pass a car down, but you have to change the title. And these are just excuses that are being made, but we are moving forward. We're getting some traction. It hasn't gotten to the floor, but we're thinking we can get background checks passed.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for our Congresswoman? We are honored to have you. We are lucky you are representing us.
Oh, thank you.
DC. You are accessible and helpful, and having someone who has been a city mayor and knows city issues has been invaluable to all the cities in Michigan. Thank you for your service, and thank you for coming to our city council meeting. And thank you also for your help in getting that grant.
Yes.
Our public safety department.
And it's more to come, because we'll be doing this again next year. I just want to say thank you. Being in public service is more than just putting your name on a ballot. Every day that you do your job, it's gaining the support and the trust, or validating the support of the people of your community. And I just want to say thank you. We're getting ready to go into another election season. And for all those that are listening, I always tell people, even those who I want to support, your work speaks louder than any campaign literature that you can write. And so make sure that your government only works when they work for you. So I hold myself to that same candlelight, that I want to work for you. Take care, be safe, get your vaccine, and I'll see you all soon in person at the City Hall.
Thank you. Wow, that was a highlight for us. It seems hard to go back to the agenda now. Item 7 is special licenses. We have a group of 4 special licenses, which I believe we have to still handle separately. Request for a special event license and waiver fee, which is pretty standard for either a commission or a block club. This is submitted by the Arts and Cultural Diversity Commission for the Oak Park Film Festival to be held October 8th through 10th, 2021. Is there a motion to approve this request?
So moved.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. And where was the second?
Second.
Thank you. Council Member Whitehead. Any discussion? All those in favor? Sorry?
Madam Mayor, I just want to say, Chair Ivy and I believe Commissioner Donnie Wilson are on the call. They do such a great job of putting this together just from the start. It's a really great idea that they have come up with ACDC, and I'm just excited that they're presenting this to us. So,
Commissioner Ivy, can you unmute yourself and tell us a little bit about the film festival?
Hi, everybody. This is Avi Snyder. As was mentioned, I chair the Oak Park Arts and Cultural Diversity Commission. I believe Donnie Wilson, one of our other commissioners, is also on the call, who has really been spearheading this. I mean, this is his brainchild. Commissioner Wilson has a background in filmmaking and has come to the commission, bringing the idea to have a film festival in the city of Oak Park this fall. We have already taken some preliminary steps towards planning it. We have a budget worked out, and we will be soliciting sponsors as well. But the idea is to, and Donnie, you can join in if you want to add anything. I don't know if he's at his computer right now. Oh, there he is. Hey, Donnie. Is to have screenings, films made by local filmmakers at various locations around the city. For example, Shepherd's Park, the Pocket Park. I know you guys are discussing later on in the agenda the creation of a social district on the 11-mile corridor, and that would be a great location to screen as well. And we're very excited about it. Don, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. And the commission, they've done such a great job in like coming up with like the great ideas or like having it throughout the city like that. Well, that was all them, and that's awesome. I've got super like exciting news to announce. I don't want to announce it too soon, but as far as sponsors go and as far as like support we've gotten for the festival already, if it's approved, then this is going to be a really great event.
Looking forward to more details. Delighted that you both made it here to the meeting. Thank you for everything you do. You get paid so much for this work. They get nothing. These are volunteer positions. And I know Avi has served for many years and has spent many, many hours. And I know Don has put hours into this filmmaking idea. And we're delighted by your energy and your vision. And thank you for your service. And we can't wait to hear more detail. If we're ready to vote, all those in favor of this special event license and waiver of fees, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. You are in like Flynn. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Item 9B is a request for special event license and waiver of fees submitted by Laura Wick, 23467 Forest, for a Forest Street block party to be held July 17th, 2021. And for those new block clubs and our city boards and commissions always get their fees waived. If it's a commercial event, then we do collect the fee. So do we have a motion to approve this request?
So moved.
Thank you. Councilmember Edgar, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Councilmember Whitehead, is there is Laura Wick here at the meeting? No. Clubs are generally approved for this. Do you have any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carried. The third one is the request for a special event license and waiver of fees submitted by Mark Phillips, 13670 Nadine, for the Nadine Street Block Party to be held July 11th, 2021. Is there a motion to approve this request?
So moved.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Councilmember Whitehead, is there discussion? If Mark Phillips is here, would he like to speak? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. We're going to have some fun this summer. Lastly, of the special event licenses, this one is a retail establishment asking for a special event license, not asking for a waiver of fees, for Street Corner Music Limited, 26020 Greenfield Road, for an outdoor phonograph record sale to be held June 12th, 2021. Need a motion to approve the special event license.
So moved.
Thank you. Councilmember Edgar, and a second.
Second.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem. I assume that the fee was paid, correct? Yes, okay. Any discussion?
Just want to make sure that they are, since it's before July the 1st, that they will adhere to the safety guidelines and PPE protection.
Yes,
Yes,
they must.
Thank you.
good point. Thank you for bringing that up. All those in favor of this license, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. Item 10, accounting reports. Need a motion to approve payment for an invoice submitted by Howard Schiffman, DC, for legal services retainer for the quarter July 1st, 2021 to September 30th, 2021, in the total amount of $18,000.
So moved.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. And is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Edgar. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns,
Yes.
Councilmember Edgar,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitehead.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried, thank you. That puts us on page 2 and item 12, ordinances. We have 3 second readings and a first reading. They have to be handled individually. This is second reading and adoption of an ordinance to repeal and replace zoning of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Oak Park, Michigan. Economic Director Kim Maroney, can you just remind us of the topic of this one?
Hi, Mayor and City Council members. Yes, this is a second reading to adopt the new zoning ordinances that have been rewritten over the past year and a half, and repealing all the old zoning ordinances. This will be the final reading, and then it will go into effect 10 days after approval of this ordinance. Essentially, we wanted to redo all of our ordinances to bring them more up to date. Most of them were written back in the 50s and really were out of sync with what is happening in today's time. So trying to bring things up to date and move things forward in the community.
Amazing year and a half of meticulous work. Any questions for Director Maroney about the rewritten zoning? Roll call vote then. Thank you.
Mayor McClellan, I actually need a motion and a second on this.
We don't have a motion in a second.
So moved.
Thank
Second.
you. Edgar and Burns, thank you. And now a roll call.
Councilmember Edgar,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitehead,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Yes.
Motion carried. Item B, second reading and adoption of an ordinance to amend Article 2, Division 1, Section 201, and the official zoning map contained therein, being part of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Oak Park, Michigan, by changing the use district of certain parcels of land currently zoned B1, neighborhood business, and B2, general business, to MX2, mixed use 2 district. So let's first get the motion and second.
So moved.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, and a second.
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Whitehead. Director Maroney, would you review for us where this is and the new things that we can have for the mixed use?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So this is the area that we refer to as a city center in our strategic economic development plan. Essentially, it's the 9 and Coolidge intersection and the properties that are adjacent to those. They're currently either zone B1 or B2. And with our master planning process, we did create a new district called Mixed Use 2, which is similar to our Mixed Use 1 district on 11 Mile. What it does is allows us for additional uses on those parcels and creating housing on second or third or fourth stories and retail and service industries on the main level. So this will hopefully help us to create that city center that City Council envisioned many years back in 2014 with the Strategic Economic Development Plan.
It's amazing to see an idea start to become a reality. Just amazing. Thank you. Any questions about this before we approve the second reading? City Clerk Ed Norris, would you call the roll?
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitehead,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns,
Yes.
Councilmember Edgar.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. That puts us on item C, second reading and adoption of an ordinance to amend Article 2, Division 1, Section 201, and the official zoning map contained therein, being part of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Oak Park, Michigan, by changing the use district of certain parcels of land currently zoned light industrial to IF, Industrial Flex District. Let's get the motion and the second first.
So moved.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Edgar. Director Maroney, would you review, since we discussed it 2 weeks ago, where this industrial flex is and what are the new uses?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The area that this is located is on Capitol Street. Only the properties that are located on the north side are affected in this. In our master planning process, we identified a new district that we called Industrial Flex. And since it all backs up to single family residential neighborhoods, we wanted to allow for some less intrusive uses as well as the current industrial uses. We did ban a few uses, for instance, like a salvage or a junkyard, but pretty much every other industrial use is still allowed. But then it does allow for someone to do live work kind of spaces, some art studios, maker spaces, and some commercial retail establishments as well. So it really expands the amount of uses. I'm sorry.
So just repeat those. The workspace, you said, work?
Yeah, maker space. So that is where you have somebody, say, you know, working on 3D printing, but then lives upstairs, or a sculptor who maybe does their sculpting work downstairs and lives upstairs.
Good.
Madam Mayor, if I may ask a question.
Yes, please. Councilmember Whitehead.
Thank you, Mayor. Is this the one that we talked about last time where there was a business who voiced his concerns in regards to it?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And did we get any feedback from him after or follow up from him?
I did not. I believe Councilmember Radner may have reached out. I did provide the contact information to him to do so, and told him I was available if they needed any other questions answered, but I have not heard anything back from them.
Thank you, Director Moran. Appreciate it.
Any other questions? Roll call vote then, please.
Councilmember Whitehead,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns,
Yes.
Councilmember Edgar,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes. We're starting, motion carried. Our vision is becoming reality. First, it's in the ordinances, and then it's on the street. It's very exciting to be able to do this. Item D, first reading of an ordinance to amend Chapter 82, Utilities of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Oak Park, Michigan, by amending Section 82.311 thereof. First, let's get the motion and the second.
So moved.
Okay, Councilmember Edgar, and a second, please.
Second.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Burns. And City Manager Tungate should discuss this utilities section.
Madam Mayor, I would say Director Crawford, do we want Jamin Winters to take this or?
I'll give the summary and then, if I may, and then he or Kevin can step in with more details if you guys have specific questions with respect to the ordinance. But before you, Madam Mayor and City Council, is the first reading of the utility ordinance, section 823312, to reflect changes for the monthly billing for the various utility rates and their effective dates as presented in the proposed budget of the fiscal year 21-22 that was approved and adopted on May 12th of this year. The summary is that we are A, changing from quarterly rates to reflect monthly rates. B, we're adjusting the penalty to 5%. Item C, we're adjusting the industrial waste to reflect the Great Lakes Water Authority change. Item D, we're adjusting the effective dates of the various utility rates. Item E, we're adjusting the high strength surcharges to reflect changes from the Great Lakes Water Authority and the Oakland County Drain Commissioner. And item F, we're updating the language to reflect the rebranding of the division to the utility billing. And so what we're asking is that we're recommending that City Council approve the first reading of the amended ordinance and place it on the June 21st, 2021 agenda for the second reading and adoption. And myself and my staff are here to answer any specific questions that you, Madam Mayor, or anyone on City Council may have.
The high strength surcharges, does that impact residents?
I believe that deals with the commercials, and I'll just ask that if is Jamin or Kevin on to just confirm that for me.
Yeah, good evening, City Manager, Mayor, Council. Thank you, Sandra. That is correct. The industrial surcharge waste is for our commercial industrial end users only.
And the effective dates, this is starting August 1st?
For those rates, they'll start July 1st.
July 1st. And the first bill will hit when?
The first utility bill will hit, it looks like it'll be in August.
Okay. So our monthly bills will start in August.
That's correct.
It is. Who would like to speak to why the penalty was taken from 10% to 5%?
Director Crawford, do you want to take that or?
Sure, I can take that. Basically, what we did was our penalty before was 10%, and that was based on quarterly billing. And so now that we're billing monthly, to sustain that same amount of fees that we think will be associated with that, by going to a monthly billing, it allowed us to be able to reduce the penalty to 5% to get that same outcome.
Maybe Director Winters, about why are we, everybody knows it's the water bill now and we're changing it to utility billing. Can you explain the 5 items that are on the bill to explain why we're changing the wording? I think you're still muted.
Yeah, sorry about that. Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. Yep, so we're planning on rebranding what many people refer to as the water department to the utility billing division, or to utility billing. The idea being that we want to convey that there's more than just the water that you consume being billed on the particular invoice that you receive, the bill. There's not only the water that's being consumed, but also the sewage disposal. So, whatever goes down your drain. There's the stormwater runoff from your property, which goes into our combined sewer system as well. There's the meter service fees, which for actually, for the actual meter in your home. And then there's also rubbish collection or garbage collection that you see on the bill. In addition to that, if you are a commercial property, there's also the industrial waste charges, which we just discussed, and then the Kevin, if you could correct, it's the special pollutant or the high surcharge. Kevin Vanderwall.
Yeah, that's correct. We do have a
covered,
This meeting is being
there
recorded.
is a minimum charge, even if you're not using any water at all. Can you explain that to those who have that question?
Yes. So the minimum charge has been adjusted. It has existed previously, and it's been adjusted to accommodate our new billing structure, our more frequent billing structure. So that number that has been reduced. And so what that fee is supposed to represent is the, I guess you could call it, it's more like a ready to serve fee or readiness to serve fee, which other communities do charge. It's basically for being hooked up to the city's infrastructure, being hooked up to the water main and to the sewer lines. It's for the ability for your property, regardless of your usage, to actually, for us to provide services. Just because you're not using anything, that infrastructure is still in place to provide those services to you, and it's still deteriorating or being used or being, from weather and from whatever else may be there. So that is why the minimum fee does exist. It is again being adjusted and lowered to accommodate the more frequent billing. The overall charge will be similar, but what you will see on your individual bill will be less.
And stormwater runoff rate. I hear people, residents worried about rain because it's going to raise their stormwater runoff rate, but it will not. Can you explain that, please?
Right. The quantity of rain that the city sees from one year to the next does not affect the stormwater rate that we charge. The stormwater, your portion of the property owner's portion of the stormwater fees is directly related to the amount of expenditure that the city has budgeted for that year, and we'll see, and then also the individual characteristics of the property that you own. And so each property has its own specific pervious versus impervious ratio of surface area, and that specific calculation goes into determining the dollar amount that property is going to pay. And
so would you say the average is $50 a month?
I would say for the typical residential property, it's actually less than that. I would say it's closer to around $30 a month.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. But whatever it is, it's standard and it's on your bill every month, correct?
Correct. It's reevaluated every year when we go through the budgeting process. So if what you are billed in August or September, October of a year, it's going to be the same for that whole fiscal year. So basically from July to the end of June, that rate would stay the same as part of the budgeting process. So.
Does the city make a profit on the water?
No, we do not make a profit on the water. That's not the purpose of government. It's an enterprise fund. We're not in the business of profiteering.
Madam Mayor, if I could also share that I think it's important to note that the city itself is a ratepayer just the same. So, with the change that's occurred, we're the largest landowner in the city. And as a result of that, the city itself is actually paying a lot more for the stormwater runoff than we otherwise would have. So it's important to note that people don't realize that.
Right. Thank you. Good that you brought that up. And Director Winters, in your presentation to one of the block clubs, and just to let the residents know that this presentation, they'd love to take their dog and pony show on the road and bring it to your block club. It's very informative. And one of the things was how many miles of sewer are hidden under our roads and how much a mile does it cost to fix and how much are we budgeted? Can you just go through that shortly?
Yes. So our Director of Public Works, Kevin Yee, he provided some PowerPoint slides to me actually that contained information from an independent analysis engineering firm called OHM, who the city works with frequently. And they went over the infrastructure of the city. We've been going over the infrastructure of the city And we've determined that there's approximately 125 miles of water and sewer lines that need to be replaced. They're on the brink of, the condition of them warrants a replacement of them because there can be water main breaks or leaks or disasters, occurring imminently. The rule of thumb that I've heard from Kevin Yee, our Director of Public Works and Assistant City Manager, is that it's $1 million a mile, sometimes more, sometimes less. It depends on the situation, obviously, but that's a good measurement. We try to pair that with other projects where we know we'll be tearing up roads that have bad water mains or sewer, and try to, pare down the cost. But typically per year, we schedule to try to do, 1 to 3 miles, $3 million maximum of capital outlay to replace those water mains. But it's typically usually more around a mile or so. But I don't know, Kevin, do you have more to add to that?
Actually, that was well done, Jamin. And I agree, though. Right now, costs are pretty high. Things are, materials and employees are hard to come by for a lot of these companies. So, and prices have really gone up for infrastructure projects. But, we're really trying to get as much done as we can for the funding that we have.
But so the 125 miles is not total miles of pipe. It's only the pipe that's in bad shape.
Yeah, I'm double checking the numbers right now, looking at that.
That's more of our total amount of water main, but it's the majority of that has been considered beyond its useful life. So it's a significant amount of infrastructure that needs to be replaced.
A lot. So what we're doing is very wonderful and we're relining it, but it's a little like spit in the ocean. A lot more needs to be done.
Well, just to clarify, like our water mains need to be replaced. We cannot line our water mains. Our sewers, we try to line. It's more cost effective and less disruptive to the neighborhoods. So I did want to clarify that because they're two different and distinct, projects and processes.
So there's the mains that are getting lined with like plastic tubing in a way.
Sewer mains are lined with a resin filled material that hardens like a structural pipe, turns into a structural pipe. Water mains need to be actually replaced, brand new water mains installed into the ground.
Mayor, if you like, I actually have that slide that shows the breakdown, and I can share that on the screen for a second if you.
Yes.
Oops. Sorry, Lisa, I don't know if you could give me rights.
Can you make him?
Yes, give me just a minute. You should be able to share now.
All right. Okay. Is it sharing just that one? Is it showing a half a screen or a double screen? Does that look okay?
Sure.
That's good.
It looks okay.
Yeah, it looks good.
So you can see it breaks it down between water mains and sewer lines, and you can see that there's a total of 102 miles of water mains, and 72 miles of them are considered to be significantly deteriorated and unserviceable, and then 113 miles of combined sewer pipe, and 68 miles of those, or 60% of them, are considered to be marginally functional or failure imminent or failure likely in the foreseeable future.
And these were evaluated by an independent engineering company that evaluated our water mains and sewer lines. And it's the sewer pipe that's getting plastic lined, but just not at the rate. We needed to start raining money down on Oak Park to fix everything. Thank you, Director Winter. That's just one slide from a long presentation that they would love to do for any Oak Park organization that is interested in water bills. What goes into my water bill? Why are my bills so high? All of those questions are answered. Thank you. We are on approving the first reading of this ordinance. Are there any questions before we vote? Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns,
Yes.
Councilmember Edgar,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitehead.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. I don't see anything under the city attorney portion. That puts us at item 14, City Manager Eric Tungate.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. Before I get into 14A, I have just two things, council members, I wanted to go over. One, I wanted to read a statement regarding anti-violence in our community. Let me be brief, but let me read my statement. Over these past 15 months, many of us have been consumed with surviving a global pandemic, a virus which indiscriminately touched everyone, regardless of geography, gender, race, class, or religion. In our required isolation, we glued ourselves to our television and computer screens, as we still are, desperately looking for answers. But in addition to the myriad of opinions we heard about the virus, we inadvertently learned much more about other illnesses that plague our society, such as inequality and bigotry. We learned that in 2020, hate crimes in the United States rose to the highest level in more than a decade. City council members, Public Safety Director Steve Cooper, and myself stand together to condemn hate crimes against any human being. Although this type of violence is rare in our community, we pledge to remain vigilant in supporting and protecting all of our residents. We are aware of recent anti-Semitic attacks around the world following last month's violence in the Middle East. We are also extremely conscious of increasing rates of violence against Asian and Pacific Islanders and LGBTQ+ individuals. Please know that our residents' health and safety are our very top priority. Our public safety department will continue to monitor our neighborhoods, business corridors, parks, schools, and places of worship to ensure that our residents remain safe and feel respected. Oak Park is one of the most diverse communities in Metro Detroit. We are an inclusive community with a rich history of shared empathy and cooperation. On behalf of all of us at the city government, I want to thank you, our residents, for being a model community and for putting trust in your local government to protect you and your families. Thank you.
Beautiful statement. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I also wanted to mention on a completely another note, I also wanted to mention that unfortunately, council members, we had planned to open our pool on June 12th, which would have been, coming up pretty quickly here. And unfortunately, we are having a hard time finding staff for our pool. So what we've decided to do is push back the opening of our pool until June 19th. And we think by that time we can have staff on board. And we'll make sure to get that communication out there as things progress. Okay, speaking of our pool, 14A, I would like to turn over to Assistant City Manager Kevin Yee.
Thank you. All right. I apologize. I had my papers were out of order here. All right. Attached is proposed change order number 1 and payment application number 4 for the miscellaneous. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong one. I apologize. 14A. Attached is proposed change order number 1 and payment application number 2 for the 2021 swimming pool repair project M719. The change order is for additional repairs found to be necessary once the contractor started the work. So as you know, the pool was not open last year, and when we got into this work, there was a lot more damage to the Marsite on some of the areas like the bench and some things like that in the pool, and it was basically peeling off. So we had to do these repairs in order to get it, have it safe and be ready to be open. The project does resurface the municipal swimming pool, and it's currently 99% complete. It is recommended proposed change order number 1 for the 2021 swimming pool repair project M719 be approved to Advanced Pool Systems of Milford, Michigan for the amount of $8,296.94. It is further recommended that payment application number 2 for the same be approved for the amount of $88,371.94. It is further recommended that the amount of $8,296.94 be taken from the general fund balance for the change order. And funding is available in the general fund 10119 757 970.
Is there a motion to approve this?
So moved.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Burns, and is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Councilmember Edgar. Any discussion or questions about the improvements to the pool? Roll call vote then, please.
Councilmember Edgar,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes?
Councilmember Whitehead,
Yes.
and Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Assistant City Manager Yee, 14B, please.
Thank you. Attached are proposed change order number 1 and payment application number 4 for the 2020 miscellaneous concrete project M714. The proposed change order is for additional work that we added for the 9 Mile Road Linear Park, including the bikeway challenge. This was not in the original bid, but we were able to use their unit prices for most of that work. The project replaced sections of concrete throughout the city from water main breaks, sewer repairs, and failing sections of pavement. The project is approximately 99% complete. It is recommended that proposed change order number 1 for the 2020 miscellaneous concrete project M714 be approved to Manually Cement of Fenton, Michigan for the amount of $23,893.08. It is further recommended that payment application number 4 for the same be approved for the amount of $131,847.75. The change order funding is available in account 101-18-444-970 for the Linear Park project. Funding for the remaining portions are in the local street fund and the water and sewer fund.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the change order?
So moved.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Whitehead. Discussion or questions?
I have a comment.
Yes.
I was driving down 9 Mile. Today is Monday. Okay, so it had to be Saturday. And I saw this huge gathering on the sidewalks. And I seen people's hands going up and down and they were sweating. And I drove a little closer and the skateboard rampy thing, I guess, is up. And man, there were like about 20 kids around there sweating and jumping and doing their skateboard things, having a really, really good time. So that's great to see that. And I saw it again today as well.
Glad to
Great.
hear.
It's working.
Yeah.
Great.
Madam Mayor, can I mention something? Mayor Pro Tem jogged my memory. One of the things that earlier in the meeting, we council members approved us to go out to bids for the Greenfield fence project. I know Mayor Pro Tem had brought this up before, but I just wanted to mention that we are going to include there's a few areas on west of 9 Mile that we are going to include in that bid. So when we bring it back to you, it will have those. There's a couple stretches, nothing major, but a couple stretches there. So I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you very much, City Manager. I appreciate that.
The look of it, I love the fencing along McLean. The whole area just looks so much better. And I did see that wavy sidewalk. I think that's the bikeway or I think that's what Mayor Pro Tem Burns is referring to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be a daredevil to do that.
Yeah.
Definitely under the age of 18 to take that on.
Yeah. Well, no, like some 18-year-olds and older. I mean, and when they got to going, they went really high, and I was like, oh my God, but they were laughing and giving each other high fives and jumping up in the air and sweating. And I'm like, okay, have fun. And I just tooted my horn and kept on going.
I told you I'm taking my school off, so you take the bird.
And I think I think we're at voting for the change order. Much appreciation for the cement. City Clerk Ed Norris?
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitehead,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns,
Yes.
and Councilmember Edgar.
Yes.
Motion carried. Lots to celebrate. Lots to celebrate. City Manager Tungate, I think you're on 14.
Yes. Okay, 14C. I am going to turn it over very enthusiastically, my God, to Director Kimberly Maroney.
Thank you, City Manager Tungate. In front of you tonight is a resolution to hopefully approve a social district in Oak Park. We are going to name it the Water Tower Social District. This is something that was newly created because of COVID. The governor signed it into order last July, allowing establishments that are connected to a social district within their commons area to sell them alcoholic liquors that could be then brought outside and carried in the commons area. This allows for people to do more social distancing, which we feel is still going to continue in the years to come. It also gives us an opportunity to hold special events within the within the commons area and help to promote our new businesses on 11 Mile Road. The area that we're proposing for the district is from Tulare, essentially the block where the water tower is, to one business shy of Coolidge, all along 11 Mile Road. This will connect our two restaurants that we have there, the two new breweries, and the coffee shop that will be opening as well. I've spoken to the businesses and they're really excited about it. Our recreation department is very enthused about getting involved, as well as our new library director, and putting some special events there. And as was mentioned earlier, with the film festival coming up in the fall, we thought that would be a great opportunity to host it there as well. So we're looking forward to fun and exciting things to happen in the social district if City Council would approve it tonight.
Okay. Can I have, I don't think we got the motion to start to approve the resolution creating this special district. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you, Councilmember Edgar. It's a hot town in the hot time in the old town tonight. That's happening. Just more ways for us to gather and have fun. Are there questions? Do you want?
Madam Mayor, I have a question, actually. Director Maroney, is this going to require an ordinance? I know that we had talked a little bit about that, but I wanted to make sure that we could do this by resolution.
Yes, it can be done by resolution. All the other communities that I research are doing it that same way.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor McClellan, I have a question.
Yes, Councilmember.
So, would this resolution allow people, for example, who are not eating at one of the local establishments or drinking, to say bring a six-pack into this area, since it's sort of it will be a protected zone?
No, the requirement of this is that it will be in approved cups that will have our logo of the Water Tower Social District on it and the logo of the establishment that they were sold the beverage from. The cup can only be used once and cannot be carried outside of the boundaries. Signage will be put in place in order to let people know that they're about to head out of the bounds and they need to get rid of their cups. But yeah, they cannot bring their own alcohol. That has to be purchased from the establishments that are approved and participating.
What other nearby have adopted this?
The one that adopted it early on was Farmington Hills, and they've done just an amazing job, and it's really helped their businesses. And Royal Oak has theirs now, as well as Ferndale, which are the two closest neighborhoods to us.
So in other words, if they serve somebody who's sitting at an outside table, the glass or cup is going to say Oak Park Water Tower Social District?
Correct. And it will also have an additional sticker on it of the establishment that sold it. So if it came from Dog and Pony Show Brewing, they're going to add their sticker onto it as well.
Any other questions? Just, it's exciting that Oak Park is in on the latest things, and we're diving in with both feet, and it is just the most exciting time to be here. Speaking of naming districts things, I spoke to a resident who grew up on the Ferndale Oak Park border, and she said back in the day, when referring to 9 Mile Road, they always called it the 9. Would like to officially add the 9 as an option for naming the 9 Mile district. Please add it to your list.
Absolutely.
Madam Mayor, can I just make one comment before we move on? One of the things I wanted to point out under the packet that Director Maroney provided under list of qualified licensees, I wanted to point out that there are 5 businesses listed who will take part and be a part of the social district. These 5 businesses didn't exist just a few years ago. So not only are we on top of the latest things going on, we've also got 5 brand new businesses that we never had before in one distinct area of our city.
Well, a former policeman, when I told him there were 5 places to eat on 11 Mile Road, couldn't believe it. Couldn't, on 11 Mile, really? We're changing the city for the better, and it's just too exciting. I think we need to get to a roll call approving this resolution, though.
Councilmember Whitehead,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns,
Yes.
Councilmember Edgar,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes. Motion carried. We're our social district.
Fantastic. 14D, council members, I'm going to be very brief. I did want to give a update. We have vaccinated upwards of 3,600 people at our community center. Obviously, the vast majority of those have been Oak Park residents. The state of Michigan as a whole is about just over 60% with 1 vaccine, and just over, I think, 40% now with being fully vaccinated. The daily percentage positive rate, the magic number was always, right around 3%, I believe it was. We're under that as a state now. The caseload percentage is way, way down. It's essentially dropped off a cliff. So obviously, in recognition of that, MIOSHA has changed their guidelines. The governor has issued revised directives. Out of respect for that, the city government, city hall, other public facilities of our city will be opening back up to the public on June 14th. That's next Monday. We'll be opening back up, assuming our normal, regular scheduled hours. From June 14th until at least July 1st, people who enter our facilities, if they are not vaccinated, they must wear a mask. If they are vaccinated, it's optional. And then after July 1st, it's my understanding that the order will basically remove all other requirements. So people can come and go, and they go as they please. So we'll be back open, and hopefully we won't be back in this situation anytime soon. There's so many people to thank in our community, most of all our residents, our council members, and certainly our staff, and especially our public safety staff. They have done a tremendous job in some very, very difficult circumstances. But again, it is my hope that we open back up on June 14th and never have to have this conversation again. Are there any questions about the COVID update, which I hope is my last one? One more thing too, we talked about at the special meeting, I should mention, council members, we will be requiring our council meetings and our boards and commission meetings until further notice. And I know that there's some legislation being kicked around, but we will be meeting effective July 1. Those meetings will now have to take place in person. And there is not yet a hybrid carve out for folks who want to participate remotely in those meetings. There's no telling what the legislature is going to do. I can't predict that, but as of right now, effective July 1, we're back to in-person meetings, and these Zoom meetings for council members and the rest of us will be over with. Okay, 14E, Director Sandra Crawford.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council again. Before you is a third quarter report for the investments of the city from January through March 31st of this year, and a description of each investment by type, the market and book values, current and yield to maturity interest rates, and the number of days to maturity. The third quarter investment report shows the total citywide cash and investments of $28,156,856, which is the market value, including the cash in the operating account of $1,315,605, which excludes the outstanding checks and other adjustments. Short-term investments in the Oakland County investment pool of $24,785,664, and long-term investments totaling $2,055,587. The city has maximized the investment return on short-term cash by utilizing the Oakland County investment pool and minimizing the amount maintained in the checking and daily depository accounts. The investment income for the months of January through March 2021 totaled $75,825. The third quarter overall investment returns are still at the same low levels as the first two quarters of 2021, just as the economists had predicted. The return for the third quarter was approximately 0.11%, primarily due to COVID-19, and then the Federal Reserve rates that are set nearly at zero. As a result, the city is continuing to invest in short-term and locking up investing in short-term and locking up long-term investments if individual interest rates are favorable. Interest rates for the next quarter, which would be the fourth quarter, are expected to remain low, and overall the investment will continue to decrease slightly as long-term investments mature. And that is the report that I have before you, and I just ask that you receive and file the quarterly report.
City Clerk, do we need a motion to receive and file?
That'd be fine.
We need a motion to receive and file the quarterly report.
So moved.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Second. Thank you, Councilmember Edgar. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Good, motion carried. Thank you. And I think that puts us at the event and activity update.
That's right. 14F, Director Jocelyn Davis, please.
Thank you, City Manager Tungate, and good evening, Madam Mayor, Madam Pro Tem, members of council, and my good colleagues. We have several things going on in the city that are very exciting. I'm going to deviate just a bit from the announcements that are in the memo in the packet because we have some last-minute additions that I'd like to point out. The first one is that this Friday we have a second grand opening in 60 days' time. We're going to have a grand opening of Dog and Pony Show Brewing over on 11 Mile Road, and everyone is invited to come. It's at 3:00 p.m. The address there is 14661 11 Mile Road in Oak Park. This is our second establishment with a license to provide bar service there on 11 Mile Road in the last almost 30 days, I think 45 days. And I had a wonderful conversation with the owner today, Kyle Girotta. I think I'm saying his name correctly. He's really excited to host everyone. He had some great fundraising gifts that he was using to raise money for it that were t-shirts and Pewabic tiles with your name on it that would go into the tap room, that sort of thing. He is going to be raffling that off on Friday. So there'll be some raffles for some of those gifts, and they look amazing. That's this Friday, the 11th. So everyone is invited to come to that. The brewing business is a brewery, so they will have beer and that sort of thing. However, they have this really interesting thing they're doing where they're partnering with other restaurants in the area. to provide food. So they have a window, they have this interior window inside of their building where a food truck can drive up to the window, and from inside the restaurant, you can order food. And they will have someone there actually offering food. I think it's called, it's a barbecue establishment that will be there. So everyone's invited to come this Friday at 3 o'clock to Dog and Pony Show Brewing. So that's the first thing.
One addition, they have an ale called Oak Park Ale that I personally can recommend highly.
Oh, fantastic. Good stuff. Okay. This is really quite crucial. The city manager was speaking about how we are postponing opening of the pool. The reason for that is we do not have all of the help we need to get the pool going. We actually are in need of several positions in the city right now. For recreation, we're still looking for a day camp director. We're looking for a day camp counselor, a park ranger, and a field supervisor. We're also looking for a lifeguard, a pool cashier, and a bus driver. So we're looking for that. We're looking for people to who have questions about that. They can call our Human Resources Department at 248-691-7403. You can also find information about that on our website under Human Resources. But we're looking to fill those positions. So please, if you know someone or you're interested in yourself, please do give us a call about that. We have a minimum of $15 an hour. We're one of the first communities in the state of Michigan to offer the $15 minimum wage. So that will be there. We're also looking for a public service worker in the Department of Public Works. So please, again, give a call over to Human Resources if you're interested in finding out more. In the library, such wonderful things happening. Thanks to our great director, Kimberly Schaff. She's fantastic. There's a grab and go that's starting on June the 14th. So as of the 14th of this week, you have 30 minutes to come in and browse. There'll be 30-minute intervals between browsing groups. You'll be able to come in and grab and go 30 minutes in. Summer reading sign up happens this week. This is for our children who are ages 12 and under. Starting June 21st, my apologies, June 21st, that will be the first week of sign up for summer reading. If you could do this in person or online. And the sponsor of that summer reading program is the Friends of the Library. Kids register receive a free book bag. When they do register, they'll receive a book, a reading log with a tracker, a fun prize, and an event schedule. So we're looking also for kids to read about 600 minutes in the summer, and if they do that, they'll receive 600 minutes of reading, gets them a certificate and a free book prize. So that's something coming up that's interesting. Lego Animals Virtual Contest is something else that the library is sponsoring, also with the help of the Friends of the Library. Submitting all students can, ages 12 and under, can submit a picture of a Lego creation of an animal or any kind of creature on the website, and winners will be chosen from a drawing of entries for a variety of fun Lego related prizes. So, and also your picture, your creature, what you have created, might be featured on Facebook, on the library's Facebook page. So that's something else fun. If you have questions about that, please contact the library at 248-691-7480. You can also find that number on the website. Another thing the library is really excited about, and so am I, is the Detroit Institute of Arts is presenting a program called In Our Own Voice, African American Art. This is a free program on June the 24th at 7 p.m. When you register for that, you give a call to the library and the link will be emailed to you. It's open to all and presented by the library and sponsored by the DIA again. This is an opportunity for everyone to enhance their awareness of the creative contributions of African Americans from the 19th century through present day. It's a talk that provides a lens to examine issues of race, gender, politics, and culture. Sounds very cool. So June 24th at 7 p.m. Call to register first at 248-691-7480. In our recreation department, our seniors always have great things going on. The first thing is we're going to be sponsoring a picnic lunch with a guest speaker. That's this Friday, June the 11th in Shepherd Park. However, you do need to register first, not just show up. You have to register by calling the recreation department at 248-691-7555. They've extended registration. It used to be registration ended today. They've extended it because we're announcing it tonight. So you can still call tomorrow by 4 o'clock to register for this event. Lunch is $6, and that includes a great lunch with beverage and dessert. And this is something that they'll be doing in the Senior Services Department for the summer. So there'll be, I believe, twice a month, June through August, there will be a special speaker and a lunch in the park. Transportation is available if it's needed by our seniors. Do call the Recreation Department for that at 248-691-7555. Senior Bingo is also continuing and will take place on June the 21st this month. Again, that's a free event, takes place in the parking lot. All you have to do is drive up and you'll be given all your materials and you can play right through the radio. It's very cool. Great things are happening. I know we are not having our normal 4th of July celebration like we usually do, but there are still fantastic things happening to celebrate the holiday. The first one is the Mayor's 4th of July virtual 5K fun run is on. So we're still doing that this year. It's going to be virtual though, meaning that you can do it on your own pace between June 28th and July 4th. There is a $15 pre-registration and it's open to all skill levels. So whether you run, jog, or walk, you actually can do this. And of course, you're encouraged to wear your 4th of July apparel when you do this and take selfies, a big deal. You just need to register by June the 23rd. And that's also by calling Recreation at 248-691-7555. We are going to do a Family 4th Fun Activity Pack program through Recreation. This is $12 per pack, and it includes backyard games for the family, recipes for the holiday, coupons, and much more. We have a limited supply of those, but if you're interested in receiving the Family 4th Fun Activity Pack, again, that's calling Recreation, 248-691-7555. Teen Council is still going strong, so on June the 30th is the next one at 4 p.m. Again, that has been virtual, but please give a call just to confirm whether or not it's virtual or we'll start to meet in person. That number again, 248-691-7555. Now, here's another one we're asking for everyone's help. We have a wonderful summer camp program that we put on here at the City of Oak Park and the Recreation Department. We have very low enrollment right now. So I know people are probably a little bit concerned about, the virus and all that good stuff, and children are just now being vaccinated. But do know, I was going to save this for later, our vaccination clinic that is in the community center and sponsored by Henry Ford is open to everyone from anywhere. And you don't even have to register. You can walk in for an appointment. I just had a great conversation with the Henry Ford folks today, and that is the case. You can just walk in and get vaccinated. So anyone who's concerned about vaccinations, send them to the Oak Park Community Center and they can get their vaccinations. But we do need, if you're interested in summer day camp or the Tot Lot program, Tot Lot is for ages 5 and 6, and summer day camp is for our students 7 to 12, please give a call. It's not too late for you to sign up for the Recreations program. It's from 9 o'clock to 4 p.m., Monday through Friday, and it costs $120 per week for residents. Now, there we have some events coming up for recycling. A lot of this happens in the summertime while it's nice and warm and we can get out. On Saturday, June the 12th, there is a Sakura recycling event. It's going to be held, and you may have seen a different location. We have switched the location to the Sakura facility, which is located at 995 Coolidge Highway in Troy. This is where you can bring hazardous waste such as household paint, pesticides, medicines, even sharps, your scissors, things like that, cardboard, electronics, and styrofoam. We also will offer a shredding service, or Sakura will offer a shredding service. There is a 2-box limit and it needs to be in your trunk and easily accessible. Someone from Sakura will take it out. You can't do it yourself. You have to remain in your vehicle, stay masked, and it has to be either in your trunk or in a flatbed truck. Following up from that, because that's one day, June the 12th, but from the 10th to the 13th, in our own Ice Arena parking lot, we're going to be taking bulk items for haul your own junk away. So again, bringing your own big items, bulk items in your car to bring to the Ice Arena on the 10th through the 13th, and that's during the day. And then we have a free garage sale weekend coming up again here on June 24th to 27th. Regular fees are waived when we have our special free garage day weekends or free garage sale weekends. But operation and sign regulations will still apply. If you have questions about that, please call 248-691-7450. And then finally, again, our recreation center, we are still hosting the vaccines, and we are looking to help anyone who would like to be vaccinated. Let's see if I've done everything here. I believe I have. The one last thing I'll mention is Mayor Pro Tem mentioned that she saw the great curvy sidewalk and people using it. If you go on to the city's Facebook page or the recreation Facebook page, you can see this fantastic video of someone who is not 18 years old, but who acts like an 18-year-old. Jennifer Wilson from our own Oak Park staff actually did a dry run on a bike, and she looks like a superstar. So please go check that out on Facebook, because she did that for us, just for our entertainment. That's all I have. Thank you, City Manager Tangate.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Madam Mayor, members of council, that completes the city manager report for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I want to thank the members of the audience who have been waiting patiently through 2 meetings. If you are joining by phone, you can unmute, give your name and wait to be called on. Video conferencing, write your name in the chat feature and wait to be called on. Speakers on video conferencing may then turn on their cameras and audio so we can see you and hear you. There is a 3-minute time limit. Director Vecchio, are you going to?
Yes, good evening, everyone. I have Kenneth Sherman would like to speak.
Hello. Good evening. Can you hear me okay? I wanted to address how the city handles emergencies outside of normal business hours. I don't know if the city was aware that on the 21st of May, starting at 7 o'clock, which was Friday, the 21st of May, until Saturday, 22nd of May at 11 in the morning, that there was a power outage in the city. There was no publicity as far as I knew, nothing on cable, nothing on Facebook. It would seem to me that probably public safety, since they were 24/7 operation, I'm sure they were aware, and to me, should have communicated that to either City Manager Tungate or to the communications department to put something out, just like you do for snow emergencies. I'm fortunate because I have a standby home generator, so I had power during that time. But I'm concerned that it was hot, and what happens if it happened this week, where it's going to be in the 90s. So I just wonder what the city protocol is for emergencies that happen outside of normal business hours, and maybe you need to use this as a learning experience to revise or address this in the future. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up.
All right, next I have Chelsea. Chelsea, go ahead and speak.
Chelsea Koziatic, thank you so much. Good evening. Thank you to the Honorable Mayor McClellan and to the Honorable Council members for hosting tonight. I am Dr. Chelsea Koziatic, a proud Detroit Public School music teacher, resident of Oak Park since 2017, an avid home brewer and a beekeeper. I loved hearing about the upcoming social changes coming to Oak Park. It's very exciting. And in the spirit of changes, I wanted to speak tonight about the possibility of adding language explicitly allowing beekeeping in the future. Beekeeping is permitted by the state of Michigan, and there are beekeepers in Oak Park, such as myself, but the charter language is not yet explicit. The cities of Ypsilanti, Grand Rapids, Holland, Grand Haven, and Muskegon do have this language in their charters, which could serve as reference. Other bee experts, such as Michigan State University's Dr. Megan Milbrath and the Southeast Michigan Bee Association leaders, could also be included in this discussion. There may be misperceptions regarding bees. Wasps, yellow jackets, and hornets are not the same as honeybees kept safely in hives by beekeepers. Those insects can be aggressive by nature, which may lend to any generalized fear or intimidation towards bees at large. In contrast, honeybees are not naturally aggressive, though some of their natural behaviors may appear intimidating, such as the large orientation flights taken by newly emerged bees or swarming. Swarming is a natural instinct of honeybees that may occur when a colony propagates. In closing, bees have an insurmountably positive impact on agriculture, and Michigan's Department of Agriculture and Rural Development has a generally accepted management practice for beekeeping, including such things as hive density and hive placement recommendations. This information is easily found online. I hope to speak with you further regarding adding explicit beekeeping language to our thriving city's charter. If there is a specific point person I should contact, I would love to know who that person is. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.
I put my cell number in the chat if you would like to call and talk bees.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was on mute. Next, I have Maureen Taylor.
Good evening.
Evening.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Madam Mayor and members of this auspicious council, I'm delighted to see. I'm not an Oak Park resident, but I live a stone's throw from you, and I'm always engaged and happy when I see women in charge. Okay, young men, no disrespect intended, but the ladies are in charge and working it, and I like that. I come today because I want to make a very quick statement in terms of asking your special mayor and members of your council to not default to the position of water shutoffs. I work very closely with organizations that have been taking a look at for the last 15 months that we've all been engaged with this horrible pandemic. And we're seeing that there are thoughts of managing water shutoffs, or even worse, putting delinquent water bills on back taxes so that folks will not only lose water, they can start to be worried about losing their property. So I would ask members of this glorious city, I have family and friends that live in Oak Park, to take a deeper dive and take a look at some of these dollars that are coming to Oak Park, and use some of those dollars that can help defray the cost of rising water bills where there are people living on a fixed income or low income families. That's the message I want to bring. I'm Maureen Taylor, and I work with the Michigan Welfare Rights Organization and Women Rock. And I'll stop right there. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you for coming.
All right, next, Sylvia Ordonio.
So thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council and City Administrators. I am Sylvia Ordonio, and I am also a resident of Detroit with many friends also in Oak Park. And so we have made a special group gathering here tonight to join you for your meeting. And we have been on for almost 3 hours now because we did join the water meeting, and we're disappointed to find that we weren't able to offer public comments there. And we did lose a few of our folks who were trying to get in at that time. So hopefully we'll be able to get their comments in writing later. But I mostly wanted to start off with, even though we wanted to respond to water, I'm gonna sort of wait and send my comments in writing around that, because I want to really spend time in what we've found in many cities that where you all have been working so hard remotely for a long time. You've sort of maybe not understood how difficult it has been for residents who have not been able to even work online, right? Who have been forced to continue to work as frontline workers, or have been fired, or had to leave their jobs because they were gravely ill with COVID, or had to take care of children who are now homebound with schooling, or parents who became ill, and all kinds of other factors that have happened during this horrible year. And I'm hoping that you will all, as you're wanting to move forward, and I'm speaking especially to you, City Manager Tungate, that as you want to move forward, that you not forget about all the other people that are still making their way through. We haven't all come out of this together the same way, and it's going to take many of us much longer to get through. And so continuing to have your meetings in ways that are accessible to the public are going to be critical. And this was one of the examples that I'm hoping it was just an anomaly. This was an example tonight of not making your meeting accessible to residents. And even though it was a simple mistake to not have public comments at the meeting earlier, and not even sort of trying to make amends for it and have public comments at the beginning of this meeting, it's another way in which residents feel that they're not able to participate. And I can tell you the organization that I'm working from, Michigan Welfare Rights Organization, we're a low income state organization with many members in the city of Oak Park who come to us regularly about the problems they're having with utilities and housing, but also how it is they feel that there's no one they can go talk to at the city local level. And they come and ask us, please go and talk for me. Please call and ask questions. Please get information for me because we don't know what to do. And so it's processes like this that sort of enforce that distance between you and your residential low-income customers in particular. And when we're talking also about this period of needing to have racial justice and equity in how it is that we operate in our local governments and how we provide the resources for that, we have to really just pay closer attention to that, because even though we removed a little bit of the digital divide, it still very much exists in what's happening going forward as we still deal with the rest of this year. So we ask for your patience and maybe some flexibility in how it is you carry your meetings so that you can make sure all of your residents are having the voice that they need and can come to you directly, right? They don't need to come around to us, but we'll always be there for people in need. But I just wanted to point out a few things and hope that you might be able to help maybe think a little bit more about it for future meetings. Thank you very much.
Okay, next I have Ms. Grady. You can go ahead and speak.
Greetings, Mayor McClellan, City Council members, and city officials. I am Michaela C. Grady, and I live in East Oak Park, 23570 Condon Street. I currently have a question, as we are currently undergoing some home improvement with our kitchen. After requesting permits via the contractor, we have received conflicting information about getting inspected for electrical and plumbing work. I have been told and have seen on Facebook that we have paid for an in-person inspection for occupied properties, but the city is currently only taking submitted photographs of the work completed by these paid contractors. I would like clarification on, is that true? Or if, since the city is opening on June 16th, will in-person inspections of occupied properties be occurring after that time? And will the contractor be contacted since they have active permits with the city? My concern about sending photographs of completed work is my concern about falsification on lazy contractors or potential problems that would not be known until after the work is completed and then verified by city inspectors. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Point well taken. Ms. Grady, my phone number is on the chat if you would like to call with further discussion.
Madam Mayor, if she could contact Director Robert Barrett, that would be perfect.
I thought I would, if she doesn't have the calendar, I could give her the correct number for the permit.
Okay. Rob, I don't know if you can put your number, your direct line in the chat for her, but thanks.
I'm restricted to the chat. If somebody could please put in for me. I don't know why I can't get into the chat right now on my computer, but it's 691-7450.
Rob, I will send it over to her, make sure that she gets it.
Thank you.
Next to speak, I have Ms. Roper.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. My name is Cindy Roper, and I am the Michigan Senior Policy Advocate for the Natural Resources Defense Council, and I'm also a volunteer with the People's Water Board Coalition. And I'm here tonight as a volunteer for the coalition. Over the past 15 months, as Maureen Taylor mentioned, a number of us have been looking at the problem with water shutoffs throughout the state of Michigan. And in particular, we were able to, for the first time ever, get data from the state of Michigan because of a $25 million water assistance program that was created by a Senate Bill 690 last summer. And as I was reviewing the data from that report, that, we took the data from the state, we put together a report. It did not appear as if Oak Park had applied for assistance dollars through that program. I may be wrong, but through all of my reviews of the data, I was unable to find that. And so I'm here as part of others that are speaking up to not shut off water and to do what you can with the funding that is coming down through federal COVID relief dollars. Specifically, we learned just last week that Michigan will be receiving $36.2 million from the federal, from both the December appropriations bill and from the March American Recovery Act, the ARPA money. So that's straight up for water assistance. In addition to that, we've been going through the funding that is coming to both the city of Oak Park, as I understand it, and you have better numbers, I'm sure, $2.91 million was what was expected, and that Oakland County is expected to receive, or perhaps has already been committed, $244 million plus. There's also COVID emergency rental assistance dollars, et cetera. So I'm saying this because I'm, it may have been a decision not to go after the water assistance dollars last year, but there's another opportunity coming up, and this money is going to be available soon. So as I know others have stated, and other conversations have taken place outside of this meeting, to guarantee members of the council and others that this money is there and it is coming. I have a meeting tomorrow with others to talk about how this program is going to be taking shape, and I'm sure others of you are aware of these processes, but the money is going to be coming, and please don't shut the water off, and do everything you can to ensure that people have access to running water as we are still in the middle of this recovery. So thank you very much.
Very informative, thank you.
Next, we have Nicole Hill.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. I just wanted to speak on something and reiterate on some of the things that my colleagues from Michigan Welfare Rights and NRDC have already said, which is it's vitally important that we don't shut off people's water in the midst of a pandemic. Right now, there's research that I have discovered that shows that even though our numbers are trickling down, there's an increase on our younger people, particularly our teens and young and older youth, preteens that are now contracting COVID to the point where they're ending up in hospitals on ventilators. It is now has ran the muck through the entire population and is now focusing more on our children. In light of that, that's a number one reason not to shut off water. Also, as my colleague said, we do have federal funding that is coming down that can help people pay their back water bills, pay their arrearages, and maintain their water services in their home. Also, when you shut off water, as we've seen in Detroit and other cities, it also causes a population migration, because there are a lot of people that cannot ever afford to get their water restored. They also can no longer get water in their names. So their option is, especially if it rolls over onto property taxes, or they're a renter in a subsidy program, if they're low income and they lose their subsidy, is to move out of your city, to another county, so that they are able to get water services, which lowers your population and your growth as a community. That's very important to any community. I also want to say that I heard, I believe it was the city manager, if I'm mistaken, please correct me, that you do not make a profit. Most municipalities purchase water from the Detroit water system at pennies on the dollar, at a wholesale price, when we as residents of Detroit pay full price for our water. And then there is a markup before you pass it on to your residents. So you may not make a profit on the back end, but you make one on the beginning end of it. So I just want to say that in light of all of that, we have to put our residents, our communities, our families, our people first. When one person's water is shut off, it affects everyone in that community. Water line, it's been proven that water lines stagnant in a pipe where someone's shut off at, when that water is restored, that bacteria flows to all those houses on that block, which could create a public health crisis for everyone in that neighborhood. And that does not need to be happening in a state that has 21% of the world's fresh water. That's just something that a lot of people don't know that needs to sink in. We in Michigan have 21% of the entire world's fresh water. There should be no one, especially in Michigan, that's getting their water turned off and not having access to clean, affordable water. That's all I wanted to say, and thank you very much.
Next, we have Marianne Howard.
Thank you very much, Mayor and City Council. A few minutes ago, heard the city manager say that health and safety of our residents is our top priority. But in spite of this, I understand that Oak Park is planning to do water shutoffs, a significant number of water shutoffs to families that aren't able to pay their high water bill. This will have dire consequences for the lives and health of those affected. They will be in danger of spreading communicable disease because they're unable to wash hands or maintain sanitation in their homes. And in addition, they will have no water to drink to stay hydrated in this hot weather. They won't be able to wash their fruits and vegetables, flush their toilets, use water to cook, bathe, do their laundry. It has a monumental impact on the lives and the health of the citizens of Oak Park. And I plead with you, please find another alternative besides shutting off water. It's just not the human thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Ms. Sharif.
Good evening, everyone. I would just also like to stand with my colleagues from the People's Water Board and just briefly to say help in getting and promoting assistance programs wherever you can. I've seen on your website that you do not include the SIRA program. It's COVID emergency rental assistance, and you do not need to be a renter for utility bills. They are helping a lot of people, and any way that you can send all assistance programs out in your bills, to help individuals get their bills paid. Thank you.
Next, Brittany Trickeld.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brittany Thrillkill. Hello, Madam Mayor and City Council members. I'm just speaking briefly on the impact that the water shutoffs, if they do take place, the date that I've heard is June 14th. But whenever that does happen, how it will impact the residents. What we are experiencing right now as far as city help or assistance, and what that looks like for the residents and how accessible that is to the residents. As a resident myself, I have in fact walked into the office and spoken with Kevin, the manager at the water board, and he's done all that you all have in place to assist with residents who have issues with shutoff. And that those resources that you all have provided bring many residents who are facing shutoff or in that predicament, that those resources don't quite fully help them enough to where they're able and capable to fully continue on with sustaining their bill and keeping it out of shut-off status, things of that nature. So I just come to you asking you that you, start to maybe see that there is another side. This is a wonderful, lovely city. And you got a lot to protect and keep the residents safe and happy, and good things are going on in Oak Park. It's growing. But at the same time, there is another side of things where there are some people who are still struggling. Some people who specifically are facing water shutoff, and they don't know what to do. They don't know where to turn. And when they approach the city, they aren't getting much, help in regards to where to go or what to do, or programs in place to even help them and assist them with keeping the water bill down, things to do of that nature. Or if they are available, maybe more of a promotion to help people, to show them what's going on, things of that nature. Just programs in place and assistance, and, asking that you guys do not shut off the water.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Please put your name in the chat. I believe I've gotten to all of the names that were sent.
No, you haven't. Naira Sharif has not spoken.
I believe I called on her. Ms. Sharif, do you have more to say?
Yes, there's a person named Cash Charette, and I think that mistakenly.
Oh, they misheard. I apologize. There's lots of residents and people wishing to speak tonight. I apologize. Go ahead and speak.
That's totally fine. Could have been worse. My name is Naira Sharif, and unfortunately, I've never had a chance to visit your lovely city. I can't wait to really, when that social district opens up, I'm definitely gonna come to that. But I actually live in Flint, Michigan, which is about an hour north, and I'm the director of an organization called Flint Rising. And living in Flint during the water crisis and pre-water crisis, I've definitely seen what the impacts of water shutoffs has for a community. I've seen families being busted up because Michigan Department of Health and Human Services will basically condemn your home if you don't have potable water, deemed uninhabitable. And so then you have potential family separation. And I really don't want that to happen to your city. I know that you heard people talk about how the money is coming in. And this is a public health impact for people not having running water in their home. This is a public health issue. I know that as elected officials, you're looking at the city from a financial thing, but I think, as you were talking about, some of the communication stuff, there's also kind of these social impacts. When you have residents that don't have running water in their home. And I know in Flint, Michigan, what our mayor has done was to extend the moratorium on residential water shutoffs, but then went after commercial customers instead. So that could be a way to kind of stave this off until you actually have money where you're implementing some of these programs. Also, shifting from a quarterly billing cycle to a monthly billing cycle could also have impacts in making water more affordable on a monthly basis. But then water is just unaffordable anyway. So some of the longer term things would be to explore what water affordability would look like in your own community and have that led by residents who are most impacted by that. But thank you very much for your time, and have a good night.
Thank you for coming all the way from Flint.
Next, Bianca Danzi. Bianca?
Greetings. I'm here. Greetings to the mayor and to all those members of the council. I just wanted to take a moment as a resident and homeowner in Detroit, a person who has close ties, family and relatives, that continue to have a fruitful life in Oak Park, Michigan, attended Oak Park High, enjoy many other things that Oak Park has to offer currently. Just wanted to lift up the fact that many of your residents are currently struggling, elders and low-income folks. And I just wanted to take a moment to read, if we can just take a note at some of the things that's happened to the residents in the city of Detroit, what the United Nations had to say about it in 2014. And I'll leave a link for this article that's attached here from the BBC, I'm sorry. It is contrary to human rights to disconnect water from people who simply do not have the means to pay their bills, says Ms. de Albuquerque, UN Special Reporter on Human Rights to Safe Drinking and Water Sanitation, wrote in a statement on Monday. I heard testimonies of poor African-American residents of Detroit who were forced to make impossible choices to pay the water bill or to pay their rent. Under the city's water policy, customers more than 60 days late in payment on their water bills run the risk of having their water services shut off at the city's attempts to reduce the utilities, and I say that in quotes, millions of dollars in debt. So I just want us to learn from your neighbors in Detroit and how we had to have people, advocates from the United Nations come and advocate on our behalf, in addition to water warriors like the folks at the Michigan Welfare Rights Agency. We think of names like people.
You're on mute. Bianca, you're on mute.
Oh, pardon me. I don't know where I left off at, but just wanted to lift up the work of, those who advocated from the United Nations, those who are doing such powerful work from the Michigan Welfare Rights Association, who I'm not affiliated with, but have great reverence for the strides that they've taken, on behalf of folks in need statewide. Think about folks who have gone on before us, like Charity Hicks, who lost her life inexplicably, I might add, in New York, was a staunch, and fierce water warrior. And just hoping that the officials in Oak Park who have power over these people's lives and over their capacity, elders and children and people who have compromised immune systems and who are trying to push forward through an unprecedented global pandemic. Yeah, so I'll wrap up my comment by saying, please take heed to what's already happened to the residents in the city of Detroit and take this opportunity to give the money that's coming through in the form of aid to keep water turned on for residents, because it's a human right. It's not a luxury and it shouldn't be optional, especially in the state of Michigan.
Thank you.
There is no one else who wishes to speak. That would complete our list of public comment for tonight.
Okay, call to the council, and because it's been a really long meeting, I want to thank you all for coming. Apologize for any of you who wanted to speak at the end of the first meeting and I totally forgot your comment, but thanks for your persistence and waiting. Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Thank you everyone for coming out. I love the comments. Have a good evening.
Council Member Edgar.
I also want to thank everybody for coming out, and I just wanted to respond to one of the speakers that we are going to monthly billing, and the hope is that it will be a little more manageable for our customers to pay their bills. You raised a very important issue, and we're thinking about it. It's something we've been talking about a lot. So thank you for coming tonight and talking about it. I actually want to talk about gun violence control. Just saw some alarming statistics, and I just wanted to share them, that it is also a public health problem, gun violence in this country. And the shooting at the San Jose FedEx building last month was the 37th workplace shooting in 2021, 37th in 1 year. And we're only midway through the year. That was the 17th mass shooting in the US in less than a week. We have gone crazy in this country. There are more guns than people in the United States at this point. Another alarming statistic is that about 3.8 million Americans became first-time gun owners last year. And only 50% of those gun owners say that they practice safe storage, meaning they keep their guns unloaded and locked. That means many people do not. That is what leads to the highest number of fatalities. We read a lot about mass shootings, but most people who die of gunshots die accidentally or by suicide. We need to get a handle on this problem. It is a serious public health problem in this country, and it's taken way too many innocent lives. Anyway, I'm going to end there and say good night.
Thank you so much for your comments. And last but not least, Councilmember Whitehead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just going to be brief. Wanted to give a quick plug for our Juneteenth virtual celebration that will be on June 19th. That Saturday coming up. Mayor Pro Tem was so gracious with a great video that she delivered for us, so I appreciate it. We have a lot of elected officials that will be on. We have, and really probably the most impressed part that I really am looking forward to are the 3 students who actually presented their essays for us. The 3 winners. We had a lot of essays that came in, but the 3 winners, their speeches they blew us all back. The commission for the Juneteenth ad hoc committee. I mean, the students are very, very bright individuals, and I'm happy that they participated in it. It's going to be a great presentation. We'll have some great narrations on historical things that have happened, such as Black Wall Street. So that we will be talking about that in the presentation. So hopefully everybody can watch it. It will air at midnight, 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. And then I believe it'll be up on the city's platforms as well. I'm probably driving Mr. White crazy with how many videos I'm getting him over to edit, but yeah, everything is going well with it, and hopefully we'll have a good participation. And next year we're already talking about 22 Juneteenth, so we're ready. Thanks, everybody. And I do want to echo what Congresswoman Lawrence started out with to everybody who had concerns tonight. This is a city with the heart, so we do heed to that. So
thank you so much. Thank you for providing us with the first annual Juneteenth celebration, the first of many. Everyone, you've been terrific. Thank you and good night.